Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I am Chelsea and I'm very glad that you're here with me today. I had a couple of requests to do a looping video of how to loop your curriculum or your morning basket, your extra things, anything like that to make your homeschool day, life easier. I did a video on 3 techniques to have a more peaceful homeschool life, and in that I talked about looping. I did not go into great detail about it. I just kind of mentioned what it was. So today I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on it so you kind of know how to go about that. If you still have any other questions by the time I'm done with the video, just ask me down in the comments and I will be sure to answer those for you. Okay, so I decided that I would kind of use my morning basket as an example. That just seemed easier, but I will talk about how to do it with your everyday curriculum too. So, I apologize for the lighting, by the way. My whole house is asleep, so I came into my son's room to do this video, and yeah, it's not the best lighting, so won't do it in this room next time, but I think you can still see everything. Here's my, our morning basket. If you don't know what a morning basket is, it is a basket. You could use a bag. You could just have a pile them on a certain spot, maybe a certain section on your shelf. I like the basket because we can pull it off and go sit down in our living room, get comfy cozy, because that's where we work on these. We don't sit at the table to do these things. So my morning basket, we get this out in the mornings. It's our first thing. We start our day with Bible, like a devotion, and then after our devotion we have this. What I have in here is just a combination, a little mix of certain things. So I will have science, geography, history, Bible, and poetry. So that is what I have in here, and what we'll do is we'll have our devotions first thing, then we'll get our little basket, we'll sit down, we'll all get cozy, I'll have this book next to me, and we'll begin. So not every day will we do every single book. That is the theory of looping. What looping is where you don't have to feel so rushed to get everything done, because it will always get done, because let's say I have my morning basket here. Okay? And this is not part of our day. We'll still go do science and history and all that at the table. But let's say we're going to read some poetry. Maybe that's the first thing we do, is read poetry. Okay, so we've sat down, we have our basket, we've all taken turns and read a couple of poems. And I have more poetry books than this, but they are out scattered. I didn't put them back in the basket. So we're just going to read out of this poetry book today, and that's it. Now I might have 2 or 3 other poetry books in here. Well, we're not going to read those all today. We're just going to read from that one. Now tomorrow when we get it out, we will read from one of the other ones and let this be looped back to the back, okay? After we get done with the poetry, we'll go to Bible. And I have 2 different Bibles in here. They're both, this is for real little kids, my toddlers, preschoolers, kindergartner, and then this can be used for older kids. I won't necessarily do both of these the same day. This is for if we have extra questions, extra things we want to know about the story that we read. But because we do devotion, we don't necessarily do this every day. We will do this every day. Okay, so that goes to our loop. Okay, for history, there are 4 books in here. Now what I do is, these are from the library. In history, we've been learning about knights and castles. So this is some extra stuff to beef up what we're learning. And I put it in our morning basket. So if we were learning about something else, right, say we're learning about prairie days, I'll go to the library and get some extra prairie-themed books to put in here. So we have things about knights and things about castles in here. Now we're not going to stop and read all 4 of these books. What I'll do is I'll pick a couple, or I'll have my kids pick a couple, or maybe just one, and we will read all or a section of it, depending on the length of the book and how much time we want to devote to it. So we might just want to read 1 or 2 little sections and put this book up. It just depends on what kind of book it is. If it's a storybook, we read the whole thing. If it's a nonfiction, we'll read a few sections of it, and then we'll either go on to another book or go on to the next subject. So let's say today we read Medieval Castles, just like a couple of sections, and a couple of sections on knights. Okay, so we didn't get to these other two. So that means tomorrow when we do school, we're going to go and read out of these two books, or just one, however you want to do it, and these two are going to get looped back, and they will come the day after tomorrow. You see, so we're just looping, we're taking turns. That way everything's getting a chance to be read, but we don't have to spend, that would take a lot of time to read all those. And we're learning about a bunch of different things that way. It's fun, right? Okay, so the next thing I have in here is geography. Okay, so I have many different things, right? We have geography. This is a library one, Planet Earth, a children's picture atlas, and a United States atlas. So again, like with history, we will pick a couple of different ones to read about. Generally, we always read something out of here, and then I'll get different things from the library, and we'll pick from that, and then we'll find cute little things in here. Sorry, had a battery notification. Let's hope we can get this done. So we'll get a few little things out of this one, and out of this one as we need to, depending on what we've read in here. We'll determine what we kind of read in here. And again, I won't read every single one of these every day. So we'll read a little bit out of this one, the next day a little bit of this one, the next day a little bit of this one, and then loop it back to the front to this one. That way it all gets a turn. But we're not rushed and trying to read so many things because we still have, subjects to go sit down at the table and do. Okay, the other subject I have in here is science. So this just alternates right now. It's birds. So I have this. We will read a chapter out of this. Sometimes more than a chapter, depending on how we're feeling, how much time we have, and all that. But we'll always get a chapter out of this. And then I'll go to the library and get other resources. Sometimes I'll get, like this is just a little storybook to keep my younger ones engaged. And my older ones, they got a lot out of this. And then sometimes it's a nonfiction book. So it just depends. And I'll usually have more. I only have the one in here right now. But we'll just loop through our science books. So that tells you kind of how the morning basket works. But I hope it also kind of explains the looping and how you would do that. That is how I do the morning basket, right? So every subject has a turn with different little books, odds and ends, and different information gets put in, but you're not having to read a ton or do a ton of work. And that way everything gets a turn. Now another thing with the morning basket is, say I only got through poetry and Bible time, okay? And then our day had to be cut short. I don't have time for the whole morning basket. Maybe we have a doctor's appointment or we have, a field trip or something. So I only got to poetry and Bible time, okay? So say this is Monday and this is all I had time to do on Monday. What I would do, I wish y'all could see my basket at the same time, is I would either actually physically or mentally, you're going to put this to the back of your basket. Because on Tuesday when you start, you will then go straight to what would have come after Bible. So for us, that was history, okay? So let's say it's Tuesday now and I get through history and then, I don't know, another scenario comes up and maybe I can't get anything else done, or I feel like we need to move on to our main subjects to finish on time. Okay, well that's fine. That just means that on Wednesday, that history is going to go to the back of the lineup, and then when Thursday comes around, are we on Thursday? Wednesday? The next subject's going to come into play. So for me, that would be geography. And maybe I get through my geography and I get through my science and I still have time. Well, I'll start my loop back over. So I'll go to Bible, poetry, whatever comes next. So you are just making that loop, right? So you have poetry, Bible, history, geography, science. And you might get through all 5 of those in one morning, and that's great. Just keep going every day through your order of subjects. But if something happens, you just take the subject that got done on that day and put it to the back of your list, and then continue the next day with the next subject. That way you never are too far behind on any subject. And I do the same thing with our core subjects, okay? So we do our devotional time, then we do our morning basket time, then we sit down at the table to do our table work time. And I've mentioned in other videos, I have all my kids, no matter what ages, do the same subject at the same time, whether they're doing it together or separately. So let's say it's time to sit down at the table. And we're going to start off, we're going to do spelling. So all my kids are going to sit down and do their spelling. Okay? And then we're going to go to math. And then let's say after that, you actually have your history where you're going to be doing some work, and your science where you're going to be doing some work. And then your writing. Okay? So let's say we're going to do those things. Math, spelling, history, science, writing. Well, let's say on one day we only got through spelling and math. Maybe math took a really long time that day and we needed to spend a lot more time on it. Maybe it was hard and we just needed to step back and really help our kids work it through. My cat. She's going to be famous on this channel. Ginger the cat. So anyway, so we were only able to get through spelling and math. Okay? And then math was just so hard and it took so long that now it is, it's lunchtime. So we have to stop and we have to do lunch, and then maybe something just comes up, or because it took so long that after lunch you only have an hour left. I'm so sorry. An hour left to work. So with that hour, you go ahead and you move on to history, but then it's time for the school day to end. You're tired, your kids are tired, your husband's home, you're going to go make dinner, whatever happened. Well, on Tuesday when you start school, don't start back again with your sit-down work where you're doing spelling and math, okay? Because then you are going to be even more behind on the other subjects and way caught up on spelling and math. So what I would do is on Tuesday, I'm going to start with the first subject that I missed on Monday. Does that make sense? I really hope that makes sense. So if on Monday I did our spelling and our math, and then, after lunch I got in our history. So then on Tuesday, I'm going to start with the first subject I missed. I'm going to start with science, and then I'm going to do writing. That way I will not be 2 days behind, and I won't be too far ahead in those two subjects and too far behind in the other. You know what I mean? Like I won't be so far ahead in math and spelling and all that and super behind in the others. It'll kind of balance it out and even it up. I'm hoping this makes sense. I feel like I need a big, huge whiteboard, y'all, to explain it. But that is the theory behind it. So then on Tuesday, you have your your next subjects that fell behind. And if you never get behind, then, you don't have to work through the looping steps. You just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. But, life happens, things happen, doctor's appointments happen, sickness happens, mental days sometimes need to happen, field trips happen, and I am a little OCD on my scheduling. I don't like being behind. So the looping really helps me in not ever feeling anxious about being behind, because I know that I'm not actually behind in that subject. I'm going to do it the first thing the next day. I will never be more than, 2 days behind, unless maybe you have a sickness that lasts a week. But that's a whole different can of beans, right? So I think that explains it. I hope that explains it. If it doesn't explain it, like I said, ask me more questions down below. Also, you could do it with like your extra stuff, art, music, PE, whatever you want to do, right? So just whatever you missed, know that it's going to go to the front of the line. And if you think about it, we do that with things in life, right? Like if you were busy and you cleaned your kitchen and then you cleaned your dining room, but then, hey, you had to go pick your kids up from something, so you go to do that. Well, when you start back to cleaning the next day, you're probably not going to need to do your kitchen and dining room as much as you need to go do your bathroom, right? So that bathroom just fell to the front of your loop, and your kitchen and dining room fell to the end. And if you get through your bathroom and then you get through your living room, well, you get to go back to the front of your loop and start at your kitchen. So we're just doing that same principle, but with books. If you made it through your math and you made it through your spelling and then you had to stop, well, the next day, don't start with those things and keep getting ahead. Go to the first thing you missed, start that line up there, and you'll never be too far behind, and you'll never be, I can't stand that when I'm like, so many days ahead in math and spelling and so many days behind in science and history. So the looping helps. So yeah, we loop, you really probably do looping in your every everyday life with your chores and all kinds of stuff. So just apply it to your schoolwork, and it's a very easy concept. I hope I did not make it seem hard and complicated. I hope it made sense to you guys. Anyways, that is how I loop. It makes my anxiety stay way down. I never feel too far behind, and I really, really enjoy it. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comment down below. I will be very happy to answer them, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.